Yeah, let's see. If you can see me, I'm testing a stream here. Because I don't actually know if this will work. I'll go see myself on Facebook and YouTube. If you can see me on any platform, send me a message or something. Let me know if you can see me. We're just playing around here today. Oh, it says I'm live. Okay. Platform. Oh, cool. Very cool. Very cool. So it looks like I'm live. All right, let me just check YouTube here. Let me know if you can see. Great. I'm testing out streaming on multiple platforms. So I'm on Facebook and YouTube at the same time. Pretty cool. Let's see, view your channel. And it looks like I am live. Very cool. Okay, great. I'm testing out. Awesome. Hello to nobody, because this is my very first stream like this. So I don't expect there's going to be anybody on here, but if you are, please say hi. I'm going to give you a little bit of an introduction to what I'm working on lately. So if you're on my Facebook, you've probably seen a lot of controversial posts from me recently. This started back in October. There were some big things happening back in October, like the No Kings protest, and Donald Trump released a video of himself pooping on everybody that was protesting, showing his disdain for an American value, apparently, protesting. So free speech is getting pooped on by the president, and I'm like, okay, you know what? It's time for me to start speaking up, because if you've known me personally, I'm somebody who, in the past, I have avoided actually confrontation. I like to debate. Because I like to discuss things. But I've avoided hard topics like politics, religion, things like that, because I love having close friends. And I always had this belief that if we talked about that stuff, that I would lose friends. And I was just afraid that if I brought up sensitive stuff, that I would start losing friends. Well, I went through an experience this past year that made me not so afraid of that anymore, or at least nowhere near as afraid of that as not speaking up. I'm much more afraid of not saying anything and just silently connecting with values that I don't agree with without discussing them. And I don't like when somebody doesn't approve of something and they don't say it. Vice versa too. I mean, we'll stay silent when we do approve of stuff too, but that's the matter of it. I think that people are just afraid right now in general. In the US, people are afraid to speak up. They're afraid to say their opinion. There are certain phrases that are being labeled as illegal, even though they are not illegal. So free speech is taking assault right now. So I am doing the most American thing that I can think of, which is having free speech, right? Charlie Kirk believed in that. So if you liked Charlie Kirk and you liked him having open debates and discussing things and getting information out in the open, then you love me, right? I mean, that shouldn't even be up for discussion. I'm doing literally the same thing. I'm not preaching the same stuff. I don't have the same values as Charlie Kirk, right? But I'm doing the same thing. And so if you supported Charlie, then you support me. And if you don't support me, you're a hypocrite, or you're being hypocritical, I should say. Now, I want to start this off by defining debate, because I think one of the biggest reasons that we avoid debate is because we don't understand what it actually is. And so I'll read the dictionary definition here first, and then I'll explain how I approach debate and what my mindset is around it. Debate is a noun. It's a formal discussion on a particular topic in a public meeting or legislative assembly in which opposing arguments are put forward, right? So a debate is an invitation to opposition, right? It's not about winning. It's not about fighting. It's not to embarrass people, though some people use it that way. In my opinion, it's not about any of those things. Debate is about finding truth, right? So I'm going to be hosting debates Okay, every single Saturday, hopefully, as long as I can get somebody to oppose me and have a discussion, I'm going to be hosting debates every single Saturday so that you can hear opposing opinions come together and hopefully find some kind of mutual respect for each other. My ultimate goal with this is to inadvertently teach people how to have these types of discussions, because I don't think it's intuitive. I don't think it's easy to have discussions with people you don't agree with. And it's something that I used to find very easy. And then I sort of became trained not to. It sort of got beaten out of me. Probably like many of you can resonate with, as you grew up, you became less passionate about things that you used to be very passionate about. And for me, debate was one of those things. I love to have discussions that inspire intellectual thought. And debate really does that to me. Just listening to somebody speak on a stage with no other opinion around, like they're just like preaching, that doesn't do much for me, because I like to hear the arguments, right? I like to hear the holes poked in the argument. I like to hear the contradictions, the fallacies, and that's what gives me clarity. So I love debate. It's very American. Congress does it all the time. I think every bill that they pass, they have a debate on it, and there's a very good reason for that. And then something else that seems to be controversial to people, but I totally get that it's not intuitive as well, is my belief is that debates bring people together. And a lot of people think that's not true. They think that disagreement pulls people apart, that it divides people, that it creates separation in their relationships. And maybe that's true for some people. And I would just argue that that's because you're not approaching debate in a way that can bring you together. You're approaching it in a way that actually does divide. So it's not debate that divides people. It's not disagreement. It's not rage baiting or hate or any of this stuff that divides people. It's how you approach it that divides people. It's your decision whether to engage with it or not that divides people. Literally deciding not to engage, literally deciding to back out or not say anything is division. Right? Speaking against something is not division. That's opening conversation for the opposing side, or for whatever side is not yours, or for whatever perspective is not yours, to present an argument. And as long as you're having good faith conversations, you're respecting evidence, you're respecting logic and facts, you can have an amazing conversation with people based on just this premise. Like, hey, let's disagree and talk about it. So that is the main reason that I am doing debate. And if you're still not sold on the power of debate and what it can do for people, I have two more points. One point is that it brings out an insane amount of education. When you hear both sides of an argument, or you hear, one person like presents all their facts. Normally you'd be in a classroom setting. Nobody can really argue against it. You can't say, hey, you're wrong, because they're the expert, right? But in a debate, you have two experts going at it. So when one person presents the full argument, or, all their information, you actually have other people who can come in now and say, oh, wait, I know this about that, or there's a contradiction in there, or there's a hole in that. And they can actually go deep and discuss it, and you get a way more information out of it than you would have otherwise, right? Because you have those opposing arguments being introduced. And then the other point that I want to make on debates is just a question, right? If you think debate is divisive, I would ask you, what is the process for people who disagree about something to find mutual understanding called? What is the process called for two people who do not agree to find mutual understanding? It's debate. The only way people who disagree can come together is debate. Otherwise, they are ignoring those facts. They're not talking about them, keeping them under the surface. And then something's going to get triggered in you, and it's going to come out in the form of something else. And now you're in a fight because you never actually resolved those issues with that person. This is probably easiest to see with a partner. If you don't ever fight with your partner, that relationship is probably going to die. And I'm just being serious. Like, you're not supposed to agree with everything your partner thinks, right? In fact, I think it's a great thing. If you can find somebody that you love who you disagree with on a fair amount of things, that's great. That's a ton of growth opportunity for you. And most of the times, we'll just assume that partners don't agree on everything, right? And so the way for you to fully understand each other, find mutual understanding, to really see from their eyes, is to have that debate, to have that uncomfortable conversation and actually sync yourselves up on it. My wife and I have an incredible relationship. Like, I would trust her to fight controversial issues for me because we've had these types of conversations. And we will go deep, we'll discuss these things. And as soon as we find something that we disagree on, we'll go, oh, okay, why is that? And we'll figure it out. So that's just something, in my personal life, it's led to some amazing things, and not just with my wife, with friends too. I'm the guy who calls out the uncomfortable stuff. I'm the guy who has those types of conversations and is not afraid to bring up those weird topics, even when other people are uncomfortable with them. So that's basically why I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm bringing out these topics so that we can all discuss them and have open debate, and so that we can all learn and grow together. Now, with that all said, that's sort of my little introduction here to my streams that are going to be going on weekly here. That is, I will say, that is, if we get people who are not afraid to come debate me. I honestly think that people are afraid. I've been putting out links for debates for a little bit here, and I've had a lot of people disagree and argue with me about certain things, which is amazing, but then they're running away from the challenge to debate me. And I'm not a scary guy, right? A lot of people that meet me in real life think I'm weak and small and quiet, because I actually like to observe people before I start engaging. So it's not necessarily that I'm shy or weak. It's just that I'm observing. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because a lot of people think that about me, right? So if I'm weak, why are you afraid to get on a debate with me? And if fear is not the reason, then what is the reason? You might say, oh, I don't have time, or whatever it is. You have time to, I don't know, however long you're spending writing these paragraphs on my posts and reply to me, you have time for that. So let's debate. Let's get it out there. Let's say our opinions. Now, I'm going to do a little analysis on something. This is going to be fun. Let me see how I can do this. Since this is my first stream, I'm still figuring this out. I want to do a little analysis on this Renee Good thing, because there's been a lot of opinions about it. There have been multiple videos about it. There's people saying you're blind, you're not seeing it. So let's just watch it together. I'm going to show 3 different angles that I have here of the event. And then one more video of after the event, and then we're going to go through some analysis points. Let me real quick just check Facebook, see if anybody has been chatting. Event. Oh, turn the audio off. That's terrible. Okay. I want to make sure I'm replying to y'all if you are saying stuff. Give me just 1 second here. Yeah, there we are. Okay, very cool. Okay, so let's go through these videos. I'm going to share my screen here. I think that's correct. Cool. Okay, so this video was posted by the New York Times. I'm sure somebody else has a longer, more original video, but this is just what I have. And it is a full unedited video from start to finish. So let's go ahead and watch it. Let's see. Am I sharing audio? Yeah, I am.
It was an act of domestic terrorism.
Okay, hang on. Let's get to the full video.
Them and those officer of around
yeah.
Agent.
Here we go.
An agent endlessly using power that results in somebody killed.
Here we go. Okay, so that person leaves. She's waving. You see them wave them by real quick? I just want to stop it here. Like, this truck is pulling up. This is ICE right here. And then you can see her hand. She's waving them to go by. She's like, I'm in your way here. Like, you can see her hand. I didn't go back far enough. See, there. Wave, go by. Okay, so she waved them by. They stop and get out. And they say, get out of the car, get out of the car.
No! No! Shame! Shame!
And there you go.
Oh my fucking God! What the fuck? What the fuck? You just fucking, what the fuck did you do?
Yeah. That would have been my reaction too. So that's one angle, okay? That's probably the first angle that everybody saw. Now let's see another angle. This was posted by the president. Kind of weird audio because it's slow-mo, I think. But that's the officer right there, and you can see him kind of like get nudged by the vehicle and then get out of the way. And then you see the car crash into these cars. And just real quick before we get into the full analysis, some people are saying like her car accelerated and like blaming her for that. She was dead. Okay. She was already dead when the car started accelerating. So that was her foot resting on the gas pedal because she did not have control over her muscles. She was dead. So if you are blaming her for that, maybe just rethink that position. Let's watch. This is, I think, is the best video. Is from the officer himself. He was holding his cell phone. And this is I think the best angle that we've got.
That's fine, dude. I'm not mad at you. Show your face. I'm not mad at you. That's okay. We don't change our face every morning, just so you know. It'll be the same fate when you come talk to us later. That's fine. U.S. citizen, former fucking veteran. You want to come at us? You want to come at us? I say go get yourself some lunch, big boy. Go ahead.
Out of the car. Get out of the fucking car. Get out of the car. Oh!
Donald Trump's a broken man. He's trying to break this country. Everybody knows that.
What
But
is
to
that?
see people-
Gavin Newsom, shut up. Okay, so we saw the full first-person video where he calls her a fucking bitch at the end. And then this video, I want to show you this one too.
Oh, you show up to work every I go check a poll.
No! Back up! Now!
I'm a physician.
Hey, listen, we understand. We got EMS coming. I get it. Just give us a second. We have medics on scene. We have our own medics.
Where are they? Where are they? How can I relate to you?
Yeah, so there's a lot of emotions going on, understandably, because this person's friend or neighbor just got killed. There's a physician on the scene asking to check the pulse, and this guy is saying no. When this woman could be maybe hanging on to life, probably not at this point, but she could be hanging on to life, right? And they're refusing in the like critical moments when somebody needs to be checked and treated. They're refusing to let them do that. For what reason, I don't know. Now, let's go into like analyzing this a little bit because there are some really important points to go over. And I've seen like lots of analysis, lots of videos on this. And generally speaking, it feels like whenever I watch an analysis that whoever's analyzing it is like trying to prove that their side is completely correct, like that there's no other position that you could have. But I'm going to break this down. So first point was that she was, let's see if I can just mute these so I can kind of clip through them here. She was waving for them to go by, right? You can see her hand there, clearly waving for them to go by. That's point number one. So she was not trying to attack or instigate anything. She was just trying to like she's doing here, leave. So that's point number one. Number two is that she lived in this neighborhood, right? People are her neighbors, right? Her wife is here. And it appears, though I don't see a driveway there, it appears like she might be leaving her house, but maybe not. Maybe she's just going down this street. Maybe they were parked over here on the side, right? I'm not sure, but she does live around here, right? So that's point number 2. Point number 3 is they were being sassy, right? However, they didn't say anything. You can't say anything illegal, can you? You could maybe threaten an officer. That would be illegal. I'm actually not sure what all the laws are. But as far as I know, nothing they said was illegal. I think the first girl said, I'm not mad at you. It's fine, dude. And the other one said, you can check our plates. They're going to be the same plates tomorrow. I just keep like starting and stopping this. Come back to my face. So she said that the plates are going to be the same as tomorrow. You can come back and check it. And then she said something about like, I am blank. I am former blank. I didn't quite catch that. We can try watching it again, but I couldn't really hear what she was saying. Let's see.
That's okay. We don't change our plates every morning, just so you know. It'll be the same plate when you come talk to us later. That's fine. U.S. citizen,
Former veteran? I don't know. But she said something there.
You want to come at us? I say go get yourself some lunch, big boy.
And then here.
Go ahead.
Okay, so it looks like she said some things that to a person who's not emotionally regulated would probably be pissed off. Like it's degrading language, right? It's rude. It's sassy. So he might be pissed off right now. I don't know. Then what happens next? This is where all the crazy shit starts going on. Okay, so here's some important points. She backs up first, right? If she was wanting to be violent and kill people, I do not think she would be backing up first. Backing up first is a very clear sign to most normal people, most reasonable people, that they are backing up to go somewhere, like to readjust, to reposition their car because something is in the way of them simply just going forward, right? If you are parked on the side of the street and there's nothing in front of you, do you back up first? No. So something was in front of her, so she wanted to back up first and leave, right? You don't back up if there's nothing in front of you. If she wanted to hit the officer, she would have just gassed it, right? I would have. If I was being violent and I wanted to harm that officer, I would have just gassed it straight into him, ran that dude right into a telephone pole. Well, like, why not? That's the easiest way to disable somebody who has a gun. And so this is also where oh wait, I wasn't sharing my screen. Hold on, let's watch that. Oops, fail, Paul. Fail party, let's go. All right, let's watch that again.
Every morning, just so you know, it'll be the same plate when you come talk to us later. That's fine. U.S. citizen, former fucking veteran. You want to come at us? You want to come at us? I say go get yourself some lunch, big boy. Go ahead.
Out the car.
And so there's the rude speak. Here's the backup. Now at this point, it's clear she's leaving, right? So if I was this officer, like I wouldn't have even crossed in front of her car. That's officer created risk, and I'll go over that in a second. But if you see someone backing up like this, maybe don't just stand in front of them thinking that your body is going to be enough to make them want to stop. Right? So what else happens? She backs up first, indicating that she is running, not attacking. And if she wanted to harm them, why not just go forward right away? Also, this is the only pathway she could have taken to leave, right? Because the entire other side of the road was blocked. This whole side he's looking at, that's all blocked. There's officers there. Again, if she wanted to run the officers over, she would have done that. So the whole side's blocked. So she took the only pathway that she could have possibly taken to get out of here. And we have this officer here walking literally in front of her car. And that's the only path. So after that, now here's the case that can be made for the officer's side, right? I don't know why he walked in front of the car. That just seems stupid. But let's say he's in front of the car for a valid reason, he may have thought she was trying to run him over at first, right? He may have thought that because she was accelerating forward-ish at him, that she was trying to run him over. However, his body moves in a way that does not indicate this. It's not consistent. So if I go back to this video here, we're still on my video, right? All right, perfect. If I go back to this video here, you can see that the officer knew to move before shooting. So right here, he's filming with his phone. He draws his gun before she starts moving. Let's watch that again. You can't really see it, but he's drawing his weapon right here. Yeah, see, there it comes out. So before she's even started accelerating, he's got his hand on his gun. So it almost seems like he's already intending to shoot. Seems like it. I'm not saying he is, but it seems like it. So he pulls out his gun. If I was her, I'd be terrified at this point for my life, and I would just be trying to get out of there as fast as possible. So that is what I believe happened. He may have believed that she was going to try to run him over, but he fires 3 shots. Like, you can make a case where, let's see if we can get it right on the first shot. Okay, so he's pointing it at her. She's starting to accelerate. There's the first shot. Where's the officer? Now, there's a couple things with this. If I was an officer, if somebody had already passed me, there wouldn't really be a reason to shoot them. Also, how is shooting if let's say she was coming at him, how is shooting the driver going to stop her car? That's another point. So shooting the driver is not going to stop a car that's already moving, is number one. Number two is he fires his first shot after he's already to the side of the car, and then he fires 2 more shots. Bam, bam. Right? So maybe the first shot, like, I guess you could kind of make a case for like self-defense, but the second 2 shots, like, did he need to make sure she was dead? Or was it enough to just get out of the way of the vehicle? Because I would think that as an officer, isn't there something about, like, you have to explore all possible contingencies before killing? So I would just think that the officer would have a bigger priority around getting out of the way than he would around actually killing her. And it seems like, based on the way his body moves, that his priority was actually killing her. Look at this. Like, he leans in and then takes a couple steps to follow the car to shoot her. That, to me, is not self-defense. That, to me, is revenge. Okay? That's just my opinion, right? So the officer walked in front of the car instead of staying to the side. That's called officer created risk. And then the last part to this is kind of the real driver for this, for what's everybody's intent, what should have happened, and everything, which is, what does he say after shooting her? Now, a normal police officer who, like, is a police officer because they protect and care about people would probably feel some remorse, right? You would expect that an officer who is protecting the people actually wants to protect all people. Okay. Especially after realizing that she was driving away and not at him. Once the shots have gone off and she, like, goes down the road and hits that car, it is, after the fact, it is very clear what her intent was. Now, he may not have known her intent in the moment, right? There's an argument for that. But after the fact, it's very clear what her intent was. Her intent was to get away. Okay. Now, an officer who cares about people and the livelihood of people would have some remorse, would go check on her, would be calling an ambulance immediately, would be allowing a physician on the scene to go and see her, would be caring about her human life. But this is not what we see in this video. It's just clearly not. Let's listen. I don't know if you heard that, but he said fucking bitch. Okay, he called the person that he killed a fucking bitch. So this to me is revenge. It's violence. It's senseless. And I do not see this officer taking accountability. I see them trying to cover it. Now here's the real questions here. Was it legal? Maybe, because officers can kill a driver if the driver appears to be using the vehicle as a weapon. That's a law. I think it's a state law in Minnesota, if I'm not mistaken. I would need to be fact checked on that. Please do. But I believe that's a state law in Minnesota, that if a driver appears to be using the vehicle as a weapon, that they can disable or kill the driver. Did it appear that way to the officer? I'm not sure. Like I said, an argument can definitely be made for that, because it's hard to tell. Like, so if you're in front of the car, you can't tell which way the wheels are pointing, really. You can, however, see into the car, and we can see very clearly in the video that she's turning her hands. Not in this video, in his video, actually, that she's turning her hands as she backs up. And if you're watching her hands, it's very clear that she's leaving. However, if you're an officer in a pressure situation like this, you may not be looking at her hands. You might be watching the car more. I'm not sure what he's trained to do. But based on the movement of the car, it would be clear to me that she's leaving too. So when the car starts coming at him, yes, an argument can be made that it's legal for him to disable her after exploring other options like getting out of the way of the car. And then the second point is officer created risk, which means an officer cannot put themselves in a situation where they would need to kill somebody to get out of it. Does that make sense? So like this situation exactly, like, don't stand in front of a car, because if the car comes at you, you have to kill the driver. You're creating a situation where lethal force is necessary, right? And officers are not supposed to do that. However, whether it's legal or not is 100% up to the judges. It's not up to me. It's not up to you. All the people arguing in the comments, it does not matter what we think. It matters what the judges think, because they are the ones who interpret the law and decide whether the law says that it was legal or not in this case. That, however, I do not think is the real problem. The real problem is this right? That's the real problem to me. That's why I speak out. It is not to like prove like what should be legal, or I guess sometimes I say what should be legal or not based on what I think is right, but it's not to like change the law or anything, right? Maybe I change a few minds and we vote a little differently. I don't care. But the purpose here is to talk about what's right. And in my opinion, I have a really hard time making an argument for the officer being right in this scenario where she waved them by. They didn't go by. They tried to get her out of the car for basically like no reason. They were like, get out of the effing car. Why? And then lastly, like, he puts himself in the way of the car. And I would think it would be more of a priority for an officer to make sure they're safe than to shoot somebody. So is it right? In my opinion, probably not. It looks like revenge. And just based on his comment after killing her, it definitely seemed that way to me. A normal officer would go, oh my God, she was just trying to run, not kill me. Like, is she okay? Like, you know, actual empathy. But I do not see empathy from any officers in this video. If you see, okay, actually, you know what? Since this is a I'm making my profile a debate platform here. If you see any contradictions in what I said, if you see officers displaying empathy, if you see the officer shoot from in front of the vehicle somehow, I mean, I paused it almost exactly on the frame that it was, that he needed to do that to stop her, or you can prove to me that killing a driver is going to stop the car when actually clearly in the video it made the car speed up, so it made the car even more dangerous. So I don't see how that's a case for defending the officer in this position. Like if a car was coming at me, my reaction would not be shoot the driver, it would be get out of the way. If the car was very clearly being used like in a combat scenario as lethal force, yeah, kill the driver, because who cares where they crash, right? But you're in a neighborhood. The rules of engagement in a neighborhood are different from a live combat war situation. In a live combat war, yeah, you want to disable the vehicle any way you can, maybe even a rocket launcher if you have to, right? Because that vehicle is probably driving around killing people. But in a neighborhood, that makes no sense at all. And if I was a trained officer, it would make more sense for me to reach around and shoot her tire, which is a much more available target, especially if I'm to the side of the car, than her tiny head, right? A tire is much bigger. It's much closer to you. There's no window in the way. So I would think it would be a much bigger priority to avoid and disable the vehicle without lethal force than it would be to shoot her in the head 3 times after you've already made sure you're safe. That's my opinion. But let's go to the president's opinion, because one of the biggest goals I have on my page is to get people to stop voting for Trump. Plain and simple. I want you to stop voting for Trump. I don't think he's a good leader. I think he's effing horrible. I don't think he displays basic good leadership skills. And I think that as a whole, his rhetoric is divisive and evil. And I think it's very one-sided. I don't know that he's ever said anything genuinely nice about his opponents, ever. I've seen him say nice things about them, but then when he goes to meet them, it's just more of the same. So let's look at his actual reaction to this. And mind you, this reaction came out moments after the event, like same day. No analysis was done yet. We didn't have the officer's phone camera yet. And his video is probably the most unclear shot that I've ever seen of this incident especially out of these 3. It's just a super unclear video, right? And so here's his post. I've just viewed the clip, right? He says the clip as if there's only one clip and he chose the worst one. Of which the event took place in Minneapolis, Minnesota, is a horrible thing to watch. I agree. The woman screaming was obviously, based on observation with no proof whatsoever, a professional agitator. And the woman driving the car was very disorderly, obstructing and resisting. I'm not sure how waving someone by is obstructing, but okay. This politeness is obstructing now. And resisting. Yeah, she didn't get out of the car. She was definitely resisting, so that's true. Who then violently, willfully, and viciously ran over the ICE officer. She ran him over. I didn't see that in the video. Did she run him over? Is he on the ground? Is he okay? I'm not sure. Just by watching the video, no! Is he under the tire? No. Okay, so that's just a blatant lie. Right? It's hard to believe he is alive, but is now recovering in the hospital. I can't make this stuff up. So he says she violently, willfully, viciously ran over the ICE officer who seems to have shot her into self-defense. This is true, right? It seems to be in self-defense, maybe, unless you hear what he says afterwards. And whether it was vicious, I'm not sure, because it kind of looks to me like she was running away. So to pit running away as viciously running someone over when nobody got ran over, it seems a little wild to me, especially when you're the president and you're supposed to be the example for all people. If I was president, I would be working on accurate, non-biased, clear rhetoric as much as I could, so that I'm not influencing people who don't look stuff up to just believe me about lies that I want them to believe. So based on the attached clip, it is hard to believe he is alive. I'm not sure where you're getting this, Donald, or what hospital he went to, because I never heard of him going to a hospital. It actually appears that he is walking right after this just fine. I don't see him holding on to anything. His foot does not appear hurt. So Trump, with all due respect, what the fuck are you talking about? We're all watching the same thing, right? We can all see this. So situation is being studied. Great. I heard this is being taken over by the FBI, Trump's FBI, with Kash Patel heading it, and they are not letting state authorities look into it, which seems a little sus to me. Normally, I would think if an administration has nothing to hide, they would be fine letting the state handle it, right? That's what happened under other administrations. And then, but the reason these incidents are happening is because the radical left is okay, so we're going to blame the radical left is threatening, assaulting, and targeting our law enforcement officers. The left is not doing this. There are small fringe groups that I've discussed with people that are doing this, but POTUS is blaming the entire party of the left, which I assume just means anyone who is not MAGA at this point. Like, I think he calls Marjorie Taylor Greene a leftist now, or at least he calls her a traitor, and he throws her in the same bucket with everybody else. So I think it's just anybody that is not MAGA. And targeting our law enforcement officers on a daily basis. Now, I can agree that that's true with certain groups, but labeling the entire left as doing that is just not accurate. We need to stand by and protect our law enforcement officers from this radical left movement of violence and hate. Okay, so yeah, this is probably my biggest issue, is just how he responds to this stuff and how his administration responds to it. Kristi Noem got on a mic like literally hours later and blamed radical left violent people for this. This is an event between one officer and one person. Okay, in my opinion, it has nothing to do with her political ideology. It has nothing to do with her sexual preferences. It has nothing to do with whether she was a poet or not. That was brought up at some point. I'm not sure why. It honestly has nothing to do with how she conducts her personal life or how that officer conducts his personal life, except for to the extent of how they approach situations. And that officer appeared to approach this situation with revenge based on his reaction to it. So that's my analysis of it. No doubt lots of people are going to come here and they're going to tell me that I'm a radical leftist and that my views are crazy left and I am biased and all this stuff. But I brought out every logical point that I could find, and I am inviting you cordially to bring up any points that I missed. Because that's what we do with debate. We don't just tell one side and stick with that. We open ourselves up to what other facts are there out there. Now, I don't want to hear any facts about she changed her identity and, you know, she had a husband and now she's with a wife. That's dishonest. I don't really care. She had a kid too. If you didn't know, she had a kid, and that 6-year-old now has no parents. That 6-year-old lost his father a few years ago and then just lost his mom. So I think we could have a little bit more empathy for people like this, where, you know, maybe you don't agree with her ideologies. Maybe you don't agree with what she did in her personal life or who she's with, but that's no reason to wish death on somebody. And I'm going to bring up Charlie Kirk again, because Charlie Kirk's death was fucking tragic. It was horrible. Charlie Kirk was somebody who went out and spoke and opened up conversations and invited disagreement. He was doing something very American and something that all of us should be upholding, right? Even if we don't agree with what he said, still agree with the very American thing of putting your opinions out there. The way he did that, right, I don't agree with, but just doing that, just putting yourself out and allowing yourself to hear opposing arguments can create change within yourself too. And so I could never say that, Charlie was going to be that way his whole life. In fact, leading up to his death, I believe maybe a week before, he got on a podcast and said that Israel was ethnic cleansing Gaza, which is not a MAGA perspective, right? Trump is very pro-Israel. And I'm not saying this is what caused his death, but there's a conspiracy theory out there for it. Just saying. So I am against labeling an entire political ideology as violent. No, I'm not. I'm against labeling a entire group of people based on their political ideology as violent. I would never label an individual just, if you just told me you're MAGA, I'm not going to say, oh, you're violent and racist. I would have a conversation with you first to see what your views are. And I think the president does this regularly. He regularly tells people that the entire left is to blame. He regularly tells people that there's an enemy within, that immigrants are taking your jobs, that the leftists are trying to take your freedoms away. And he puts all this rhetoric out there to make you afraid. There is nothing to be afraid of with the leftists, okay? I have plenty of leftist friends. I have plenty of Republican friends. And when politics are aside, they're just normal people. Like, we're just people, right? I personally, whenever I've done any kind of political test, up until Trump became president, I've been vehemently in the middle. Right? People will ask me, should abortion be legal? Back when it was either, oh, it should be legal or it shouldn't be legal, I was in the middle. I was like, it should be legal up to a certain point. And I think I said when the baby becomes sentient. And I've been asked other questions like this where I'm just in the middle. I don't think that either extreme is right. I don't think that the girl in the video was all right, actually. I think that what she should have done is complied with the law enforcement and gotten out of the car like they asked her to. That's what I think she should have done. So no, I don't think she should have run away. I don't agree with that action, but I also don't agree with shooting her because of it. I can be against both sides. It's not crazy. So yeah, like even criminals running away, you don't shoot them in the head, you tase them, right? Or you disable them so you can bring them into custody and make them accountable for their crimes. Not shoot them in the head. Like, we're not at war in the US right now. So those are my thoughts. Please, if you disagree with anything, I would love to know. I'm inviting disagreement very openly on my page right now, and I'd love to set up debates with anybody who does disagree. And I'd love to have actual conversations about these in a good faith environment with you. Now, I have a debate lined up, okay, on the 17th, this next week on Saturday. A buddy of mine and I are going to be debating on whether Trump is the worst president of our lifetime or not. He thinks he can make an argument to say that there's somebody worse, but I do not think he can. I'm taking the position of proving that Trump is literally the worst president we have ever had in our lives, as I firmly believe that. So keep an eye out for that. That's going to be on Saturday. I did not set a time. I don't think it's going to be in the evening, 5 or 6 PST, I think. Let me see if I set a time for that. No, we haven't set a time yet, but we discussed that it can be in the evening. So keep an eye out for that. And I would love to see you jumping on that call jumping on that debate and learning and, doing whatever you want to do. Grab a beer, grab a cup of coffee, probably not in the evening, right? Grab a beer or whatever you do in the evening and relax with us and watch some debate. It's going to be a lot of fun. My hope is that we can do this every week and I can bring a platform to you where you can get educated about this stuff on a regular basis. All right. Thanks to anybody who watched this test stream. Let me see if I can figure out how to close this. I actually have no idea what I'm doing here. So let's see. Okay. I think I got it. Wait, why did these say offline? No, they're streaming. Okay. I think I got it. Bye, everybody. See ya.